Best of r/Tales from Tech Support episode 137. Subscribe for edit videos daily. Screaming fire in a crowded theater. This story happened literally moments ago. I've mentioned in the past that I'm a developer and part of my job is troubleshooting my software when someone complains or files a ticket. 2 Saturdays ago, one of our contractors deleted a VM. This VM housed our only version of a real-time tool for our call queues, one for which no backup existed. This project took me multiple hundreds of hours to build out the first time using a whole host of technologies. Like a miracle worker, I fixed it by early Monday, spending 26 hours of my weekend to do it. The only difference here being that the URL changed, for various reasons that don't really matter. Flash forward to this afternoon. I get an email from the CTO labeled high importance real-time not working in Site 2. All it says is CEO informed me that real-time is not working in Site 2 and hasn't been for days. Like the good dev I am, I made the assumption that it wasn't working and no one had filed a ticket or said anything, which couldn't has happened before. I asked CTO if he had any additional details. His response back was, and I quote, "No." I end up sounding the alarm and engaging the networking, server, and operations support folks to start probing and find the problem. Ping tests from different VLANs, remote accessing multiple boxes, double checking AD and the box itself, and nothing. It works just fine in every test. After spending an hour engaging a bunch of different folks, I get a call from one of our ops support folks. "Oh yeah, I was walking around with CEO since he's at Site 2 today. I told him the real-time tool wasn't set up on our monitors yet. The URL changed and we're still setting the links back up. I spent an hour panic hunting for a problem because CEO misunderstood something an ops person said and complained to CTO about a problem that didn't actually exist. The worst part of this is that I now have to tell CTO that CEO was wrong. That's not a conversation that's going to be easy or fun. At $9C levels. Thank you. Next. I hate sales monkeys. I guess I am not the only tech support guy that has a special relationship with his lazy ass sales monkey colleagues. Just one of the examples. Me = SM = sales monkey. Ping, direct email of SM. SM. Do you know if our system backup DB works across OEMs? So if we do a DB export from OEM A and then upload to OEM B, would the settings work, as I assume the DB structure would be the same? Me. I do know. And our system backup does not work across various OEMs. SM. All good. A little over a week passed. Ping, support ticket of SM. SM. Is there any way to transfer a configuration of a OEM A server to an OEM B server? We have a customer with 800 IoT devices moving from OEM A to OEM B so they can continue getting updates and expanding their system. Short of manually noting all the config and re-entering it all, is there an easy way to achieve this? Me. On the 9th of June you emailed me this question. On the 9th of June I told you couldn't do this. Why would the answer be different on the 18th of June? SM. Stutters a bit. Me. No worries. I will close the ticket. And informed my team to avoid a reputation of this annoying game. Thank you. Next. Chrome won't install. I work tech support at a mine. Users are not known for their computer literacy. The company is switching over to a new voicemail system that users have to register and create a PIN on the web page. Catches. You can't use IE. Any other browser will work and the instructions were very clear and easy to follow. Q user stomping into my office saying that they can't get Chrome to install on their PC so they can't complete the registration, and that I have to come over right now and fix it. So I walk over and there is Chrome browser window open, with 10 or so downloads of Chrome at the bottom, and an error box saying Chrome is already installed on the PC. Yeah, user was opening Chrome to download and install Chrome, then complaining when the installation failed. TL. Doctor, user is using the Chrome browser to download and install the Chrome browser and getting an error that it was already installed, then told me it was broken and she couldn't install Chrome. Thank you. Next. Percussive maintenance works. Sometimes. Many years ago one of my first jobs was working as PC tech for a college. I had a professor come down to my office saying his laptop was making funny noises and he was unable to get it started. He was hoping that I could get it working again. I took the laptop, plugged it in, Powered it up and heard click click, click click, click click as the hard drive attempted to spin up. Knowing this wasn't good, I informed the professor that the chances of his computer booting up were slim to none and we would more than likely need to replace the hard drive. Of course. That's when he drops the everything I have is on that computer. I knew the answer already, but still asked the question. Do you back up your work to your network share per college policy? This was before USB flash drives, folder redirection, VPNs, and other such features were common, so everything was saved to the local drive. Of course the answer is, no, never have. I ask him to leave the laptop with me to see what I can do. After he leaves and as I start taking apart the laptop to pull the hard drive, a thought strikes me. Just maybe. I take the screwdriver I have in my hand, turn it around so I am holding the pointy end and firmly strike the case where the hard drive is located with the back end of the screwdriver. Miracles beyond miracle. The click click stops and the hard drive spins up. The OS starts and I am greeted with the login screen. I log in with our technician account and run a few disk tools, Norton Disk Doctor or something similar. We had which correct the errors. I called the professor and explained the good news, leaving out the part about some percussive maintenance, and asked him to stop by my office. When he arrives I explain in no uncertain terms that he is extremely lucky and that he needs to back up his files as soon as he is back in his office and plug back into the network, as I could not guarantee how much longer that hard drive would continue to run. He takes his laptop, expresses his gratitude and promises he will back up his important files as soon as he is back in his office. Well, this is TFTS. So you know the story can't end there. Guess who was back in my office about 2 weeks later with a computer that would not boot? Guess who had not backed up their important files? And one guesser who was not so lucky the second time around? This was before backup/cloning of hard drives was common to do in these scenarios. Thank you. Next. Customer bricks iPad, threatens legal action. First, a little context. I, 31M, work as a computer technician/salesman for a large office/school supply retailer. It's my job to not only sell devices, but service them. As you might imagine, my position attracts a lot of older clientele, with the most banal questions and requests. Still, a lot of them are fairly self-aware in their lack of knowledge. I don't mind helping them out, and if I can teach them a thing or two, everyone benefits. Now on to the weekly feature. Though I wasn't a part of the initial contact, a couple, let's call them Rachel and Frank, came in to replace an old iPad that had outlived its usefulness. She was maybe late 40s, Jamaican, and he looked early 60s, Canadian. From my understanding, they didn't want us to set it up, and they turned down Apple Care. Can't blame them for not paying for setup. It's easy enough for seniors to do, but this has an important consequence later. 3 days later, my supervisor Sandra 41F mentions to me that Rachel brought the iPad back in for us to set it up for them. No problem, I said. How far did they get? It was all set up, except they didn't know their PIN code to unlock it. After heaving a sigh, she recommends we wipe it and set it up new. While the process is going, we get their account info, as we will wind up hitting the user account lock soon. They gave us their Apple ID, but you probably guessed, they didn't know their password. That's still not an issue, it just prolongs matters. A simple password recovery will do. Well, that would be great, but the pattern continues. They don't know their email password. I pull Sandra aside for the next step. After letting out and groan, well out of earshot, we take note that their email address is provided by their IP. They'd have to call their IP, waste at least a half hour on hold, and get back to us with a reset password. We send Rachel on her way, and we hold on to the iPad for when we get the call. The next day, Sandra gets a call from Frank, asking why we can't just wipe it, and why they have to jump through so many hoops. Where his wife was polite and understanding, Frank had a short fuse. Still, Sandra used her charm to reassure him. Unfortunately, his irritation was well deserved. He had spent an hour with the IP, only to choose then to tell us he hasn't been with that IP for 4 years. They scrubbed the email account, and can't do anything for a non-customer. Sandra tells him to have Rachel bring her PC in case I can reset it using iTunes. Sandra is already gone when I get there for her son's grad and left me notes so I'm up to date. At this point, I'm having to go into the lockup so people can't hear my groaning. I had to be straight with her. It was hard because she was so nice throughout this whole thing. She can call Apple directly or take it to the local repair center Apple forwards claims to, but there's nothing I can do. She asks to use the phone to call Frank. I can see this coming a mile away, so I prep my best customer service voice and prepare to dig in. As I predicted, he wants to speak to me. The first complaint was valid. We charged them for setup work we couldn't fulfill. That'd be returned. No questions asked. I went over the situation with him slowly and explained the account lock he enabled. He explained to me that he did nothing. He didn't enter any info. All he did was hold the iPad over his phone when it asked him to, thereby transferring the account info. Apparently I didn't make any sense, because I should be able to just wipe it and start fresh. After a couple more times of explaining it, he asks me, so what are you telling me? The iPad is no good? Unless that iPad can be unlocked by Apple or by the repair center, it's unusable, I said. At this point, he demands a refund. Yes, we will refund the labor for setup back to your wife's card. Boy howdy was I stupid. He was actually asking for a refund on the iPad. And since we never touched it, we have literally no liability for what happened. He felt that we sold him something that he can't even use, and it's within the 14-day return period. I explained that because he had set up the tablet with his info, that the lock is in place because he can't remember it or recover it. Again, he says he never set it up. Of course, denying an already irate customer a $500 refund is going to cause problems. To paraphrase Frank, if you won't give me a refund, I'll talk to Sandra, or whoever the manager is. I'll get legal if I have to. I've only been in retail for 2 years, but I have enough common sense to know that when someone drops that word, you shut the fuck up, Friday or not. I let him know that I can forward him to a manger that's in, but his wife will have to take it to the Apple Claims Center or call them. It was beyond my expertise and pay grade to represent the store if someone would be getting their lawyer involved. I knew he was blowing smoke, but you don't fuck around with that. I returned the iPad to his wife, refunded the labor, and gave her the directions. She apologized for her husband, almost like she knew exactly what would happen. And it wasn't until after she left that I clued in. Shit, he's got the same Apple ID on his phone too. Watch him blame us for that, too. Edit. Wow, this really blew up overnight. I love the smell of karma in the morning. I'll try and work some comments over breakfast. Thank you. Next. Why do I need to call them? Just fix it. Greetings, and welcome back to another tale of tech failure support. Sit back, relax, enjoy a plate of grumbler cakes, and please do the needful. To set the background, $me works as an L2 tech, which is to say the end of the line. My team gets tickets for $org that were not able to be resolved by the help desk. If we aren't able to resolve the issue, then we will generally engage the engineers at the relevant vendor. That, or we tell the $user they are out of luck. We handle everything from diagnostics to AD administrative tasks. The way our system works is that tickets get assigned to our queue, and we have dispatchers who assign tickets to individual technicians on our team. Here's the cast. $me, the protagonist of this story, runs on coffee and lowbrow brand beer. He also has a cape that flutters in the breeze of a Hero Wind branded fan. $users, the sort of people who the internet usually associates with a name that starts with a K, who usually want to speak with your manager. $SDL, service delivery led. Nice guy, advocate for IT staff to the suits and C-suite manglers. As I've mentioned before in previous posts, my team is the L2 team for the $org L1 help desk. We are a much smaller team as we only take escalations for issues that cannot be resolved by the L1 team on chat/phone. We have an internal DL that is designed for the IT staff to email when something is happening that requires the attention of my team. Outages, planned maintenance, etc. Scene. It's a typical Friday morning. Things are pretty slow and I'm reading TFTS while watching my queue to see if anything new has been assigned to me. Suddenly my Outlook notifications are going crazy. Must be a major outage, I think to myself. Some prior knowledge, The L1 team is not to share our internal DL address under any circumstances. If a user calls in requesting a ticket update, the agent should note the caller's comments in the existing ticket and the ticket owner gets a notification. A few days ago, an agent had such a call, but instead of following process, they give the caller the email address to our internal DL. Annoying, but whatever, it's fine. The agent was given a talking to and we got the issue resolved. Back to the story. I check Outlook and I see a ton of emails like these. $user1. Hello, I'm emailing to report an issue with my home printer. It's urgent, this gets fixed immediately. $user2. I need a password reset for system we don't support. Can someone please call me at X? $user3. Hi, I'm trying to set an out of office message but I can't figure it out. I need someone to call and walk me through this. All annoying. And all emails about things that should be handled by the help desk. Lots of emails back from $TM, our technical manager, asking for ticket numbers. Surprise, none of these people had existing tickets. As it turns out, the one person who got the internal DL shared it out as a way to get help right away without needing to call in. This led to a parade of users who suddenly decided their issues couldn't be fixed by L1 and that they needed an instant escalation. To top it off, while some of them understood they needed to follow process, others got indignant and made comments that they didn't have time for a ticket and needed someone to call them right away. Long story short, everyone who needed a ticket finally got a ticket and an email was sent out as a general notification from IT from $SDL explaining that we have a help desk for a reason and reiterated the policy for reporting an IT issue. This all went down a couple months ago and we still get occasional emails from random users who want help for a ticket that they don't have. A little postscript to the story is that a week later, one of the other guys on my team gave his personal cell phone number to a user, which led to him getting tons of calls over the weekend after that user shared his number with her department. Nobody had any sympathy for him. Hope you enjoyed. I'll try to upload some more stories later on from my time at $gov.org. As always, if you have any questions, comments, or death threats, feel free to post them in the comments. Later, edit, re-uploaded to remove proper names and commentary on the reason for the re-upload. Thank you. Next. That would be why I will not turn on. First time poster and on mobile, so I am sorry about formatting. But English is my first language, so grammar and spelling is all on me. Many years ago I was on a tier 1 tech support team for a government entity. As such, the range of people were from way smarter than me to how did you even figure out how the phone works? You can probably guess which this story applies to. This story will also be briefer than the actual call since I don't have that good a memory and it was around 10-12 years ago. Me. Thanks for calling the service desk. I can help you. User. Hi, my laptop will not turn on. All the lights are on but my monitor is black. Okay. Can I have you hold the power button down until the light goes off? After that wait 30 seconds and press it again to turn it back on. Okay, done. The blue light is back on. But nothing is happening on the monitor. This immediately sets off an alarm bell as all our laptops at this point in time have green power lights. Great, thank you. Can you tell me what it says on the computer with the blue light? Yes, it says APC on it. Okay, that is actually your battery backup. Is there anything on your desk that says Dell on it? Yes, my docking station does. Great, where is your laptop? Oh, it is at home. At this point I had to put her on mute to collect my thoughts. There is also now the task of explaining that you have to have your laptop with you for it to turn on. I, somehow, eloquently explained the requirement and bid her on her way. Next day she calls back and we have to dispatch a tech to her desk to help dock the laptop.